everyone. That was a pretty big act to follow so soon. I am blown away by the work you're doing. Really amazing. I begin today by acknowledging the traditional custodians of our land, both here, past and present. And I extend that respect as well to Aboriginal leaders, Torres Strait Islanders as well, peoples that are here today, and all the Indigenous Armenians as well, who've been affected by the recent terrible situation, September. My name, as you know, is Alethea Gold. I am the Goodwill Ambassador of Smart Aid. We work in disaster zones around the world, and we specialise in using technology in disaster zones for humanitarian relief. We are non-religious and we are non-governmental, and we help everyone. We are fighting global poverty and economic equality. I would like to say, just in brief, that we have assisted over 41 countries this last year, and we've helped over 2 million people. A little bit about me. After 35 years in the fashion industry, working globally as a fashion stylist, fashion director, fashion editor, and photographing fashion brands all over the world, fashion was my world. During my travels, I discovered a very sad story in China, out of the blue, as you do, and I became very passionate about trying to help the children from this story. The people in Henan province sold their blood. They were asked by the local government, and sadly they were all infected with HIV. And I discovered that the whole of Henan province was really badly affected, and this story sat with me. I called a very, very famous photographer in the kids' business that I've been working with for many years, Lucas Zorden. We decided to do something with our talent, so we did a book called Children of China. We launched it at the Beijing Olympics, and we gave all the money we made from that book to the children of Henan province for them to go on summer camp. And I spent a week with them in one of the camps. The money went to pay for their music and art therapy. I decided then to do a second book, as I was born in South Africa, Children of South Africa. FIFA World Cup was coming up. I thought, great, I've got all these corporates there again. I'm going to sell the book to them and donate the money to HIV-affected kids at a wonderful charity called Africa Tikon. Nelson Mandela was the chief patron. And we did. We donated the money for these kids in 6 townships to play sport. Then I decided my third book. Now I'm on a roll. I wanted to do one in Israel to help the Ethiopian refugee and immigrant children. Sadly, there was no big event, no corporate event to donate, to help sell all the books to, so I had to give it to a publisher, which meant I did not make as much money, but the money we did make, we did donate to these kids. But on this journey, I met a man who was the turning point in my life. His name was Shahar Zahavi. He changed my life. Shahar called me one time when I was in London. I was just finishing a photo shoot, and he said, "Goldie, you have to come and see how we work." I said, "No, I don't know about disaster zones. Fashion is my world." And he convinced me to go to Lesbos. I found myself the next day getting on a plane from London to Lesbos in Greece. And before I knew it, I was pulling people off boats, rubber boats, with 75 people on that should have had 25 people on. They were wet, They were stranded, they were tired, they were refugees at the time from Afghanistan and Iraq, and some from Syria. This was a hard introduction to working in disaster zones. I had no sleep for 2 weeks. One night I was in my clothes at 2 a.m. I fell on the bed and I had a call 45 minutes later, Goldie and other boats coming in. I just ran down the stairs, the little jeep picked me up, and off we went to pull another boat. I didn't wash my hair for a week. I usually wash it every 2 days. But this was my big turning point. From being spontaneous and just going with a story that I had no idea where it was going, I couldn't turn back. I could not go back to fashion after this. I'm just going to give you a snapshot of some of the stuff that we've done. My first official trip was to the Yazidis in a refugee camp in northern Greece and near the Macedonian border. I don't know if you know about the Yazidi group. There was a genocide against them and they ran from ISIS. It's a horrific, horrific story. They were the most beautiful group of people, really kind. They're not Muslims, they're not Catholics or Jews, or they have their own religion. And I became very passionate about helping this particular group of people. So when I got back, I decided I had to raise money quickly and get the ones that were left behind that didn't make it out of Kurdistan, were stuck on top of a mountain, and they're still there today, on top of Sinjar Mountain. There was no electricity. The women were being raped when they went to the bathroom, and the children. So I decided to get solar-powered lights. I called my contact at DHL, who shipped them for free, door to door. These children are now safe, and so are the women. And they're still using those lights today. That was 7 years ago. Then came the Beirut bomb blast. SmartAid sent medical equipment, and we helped Karantina Hospital from Australia. We sent 12 pallets. The hospital was really close to where the catastrophic blast went off, and half of the hospital was blown up. It killed 200 people, wounded 6,500 people, and 300,000 people were displaced. Then came, in the Bahamas, suddenly there was a hurricane on Abaco Island, which was absolutely annihilated. So I organised 5,000 solar lights and water purifiers. The children were being taken out of the island and placed in makeshift group halls, gymnasiums, and places like that. And at 8 o'clock, the lights all went out. And the children were afraid. They were afraid of being alone in the dark. So I organised to give them solar-powered lights to stop them from being afraid. Now moving closer to home, Tonga, which is very close to Australia, had their volcano erupt. And then, to top that off, they had a tsunami. SmartAid quickly got together, and we sent them medical supplies, medical equipment, beds for the hospitals, Karcher cleaning equipment. Karcher actually donated $150,000 worth of cleaning equipment because the companies were all covered in white ash, the hospitals, sorry. We're still working there. In fact, right this minute, we are preparing to send solar power for a hospital that keeps losing power. And then the fridge goes off and all the medicines and supplies have to be chucked out. Hopefully that will happen in the next month. The floods in northern New South Wales, of course we helped there. We sent Karcher cleaning equipment, Starlink, pet food, hygiene kits, and the kids who got the Karcher cleaning equipment cleaned up their their homes that they were in, and then they took this culture cleaning equipment, went to Lismore and helped clean up Lismore. And they've now started a little business, these young kids. I have to mention Ukraine because the world seems to have forgotten about Ukraine, and they still need our help. When the Ukrainian refugees first started coming across to Poland, they arrived, and the one thing we found out is that all their phones were dead. And it was the one thing they were really urgent about. They wanted to charge their phones. So we quickly organized power banks, thousands and thousands of power banks that we charged up in a warehouse in Warsaw till midnight and brought them in trucks to the border, and we gave one away to each family. Since then, we've helped with so many things. We have over 350 smart classrooms for Ukrainian children. We've given out hundreds of portable baby incubators. When the siren goes off and a baby's in an incubator, you cannot take the baby out that incubator or the baby will die. So we've given portable incubators, which the mother comes, presses the button, wraps the baby in the incubator and is in the shelter within 1.5 minutes. We've given drones, headlights to all the doctors and frontline responders, and we have delivered 18 containers of aid, of very needed aid. Smart Aid has also helped support a home for individuals facing mental challenges. And we found that this big, massive home, there's over 100 kids in, had no kitchen really to speak of. So we built them a kitchen, a massive stove, and we put in washing machines and dryers for them. We then found out that their windows were leaking cold air and winter was just starting. So we found a donor, and he repaired all the windows in this house. There's over 100 windows. Morocco, of course, we helped Morocco. We sent solar-powered lights, phone chargers, water purifiers, medical supplies, blankets, sleeping bags, and more. One of my favorite missions was in Peru. It was a very small mission. We found a lady who walked 4 hours once a week to go and charge her phone in a village to call her son. So we sent her and lots of other people in the area solar-powered light with a phone charger connected to it. Now she doesn't have to leave, and we've also arranged Wi-Fi for her. I'd like to share another tech moment in our work, because I know this is something you're all interested in, STEM centres. Smart Aid, together with DHL and a company called STEM Power, have joined together. Together we have opened up 116 STEM centres in Africa, at the moment in 16 countries. By the end of this year, we would have opened another 61 centres. One of my favourite stories is the story of that truck in the middle. It's a truck that moves around in an urban area, and it's got a STEM centre inside, teaching kids STEM. Why technology in disaster zones? As you can see, it's a very big factor. Telecommunications is desperately needed to keep NGOs safe. It's not safe for them to work in disaster zones without connectivity. Wi-Fi, Starlink. Displaced people and refugees needed to call home. Also important is education, to keep education going for the kids. We forget how refugees, kids, are suddenly just left. There's no school. That's why we started the smart centres. Telehealth, solar power, fintech, clean water, solar generators, solar lights, power banks, I could go on. and drones. Some of the highlights from the last year is that we delivered $18 million of medical aid, 33 renewable energy projects, 42 telecommunications centres opened, 78 medical institutions that we supported, 5 regional disaster technology coordination centres, so that those people could organise what needed to be done in each disaster, and some of them a war zone. I know this is all about International Women's Day and tech today. I want to thank the amazing Poppy Cedar, an amazing woman who I met on Zoom, and here I'm standing out of my comfort zone today. Thank you for inviting me, and I want to thank all of you today for listening to me, and I wish you all a very, very happy International Women's Day. I'm sorry your wife didn't hear what you had to say. And I want to share, I hope that you will share some of the good work that Smart Aid is doing around the world. And I know we all wish for peace in our world, including in Armenia. Thank you so much.